Greetings, good morning to one and all. Anuradha Krishnan, as cultural head boy, do, on behalf of GIS, extend a very warm welcome to everyone present here. It feels so good to meet all of you. Stuck at home now, I think everyone would agree. It feels amazing to socialize. It feels exhilarating to be in the midst of such an electric atmosphere. And with those same exuberant spirits, let us commence with these few days of fun, literature and fierce fought competition after fierce fought competition. Over to you, Arshi.
Good morning, everyone. Arushi Paul for you, the cultural head girl of the school. A virtual environment, an isolated classroom experience, a bold ambition, one platform, an eminent and luminous panel of judges, 82 schools, a literary odyssey, Excellencia 2020. A hearty welcome to everyone here today. I, along with Arun, will be taking you through the ceremony this morning. On behalf of Gopalan International School, I would like to welcome all the chief guests, our esteemed directors, our beloved principal, all the participating school leaders, teachers, students, honorable judges, department heads, and lastly but definitely not the least, all the participants who have come here to do their best. I hope that after this event you walk away with a great experience.
Literature has its own way of taking you away into another world completely. In the books you read, you find a new friend whom you've never met and probably never will. A correction that you may just meet someone who resembles them in the near future or in the distant one, but they stand by your side nevertheless. You travel through time into an era we only ever read about in our textbooks. You get to travel to places that others create. And after all that excitement, you come back to reality, thrilled with what you just discovered. Such is the effect of literature on you.
With ever increasing chunks of our schedules turning into moments of restless boredom, we might as well make the excuse to read more. We live in these times of turmoil. Look here, there are issues. Look there, and there are more. That's where literature helps one let go of reality. It takes them away to a world not of their own, but breathtaking nonetheless. And only by looking down from that mystical, sometimes horrifying land that the author created can we truly make head or tail of anything that happens here on earth. And in these times of misinformation, times where distance inhibits debate, times where you and your friend cannot argue on such pertinent issues, this new perspective books provide us may just well be more important than Netflix documentaries. That's why I say, as many have before, be it the dystopias of 1984 or the utopian lands of Gulliver's Travels, literature will always be the key to unlocking the best of this world. We face several challenges today. Despite them, our dynamic spirit hasn't been dampened. We continue to socialize, collaborate, work hard, and debate. We are intent to forge ahead in this new normal. In this spirit, we now embark on a literary odyssey. But we cannot begin such a grand event without the auspicious prayer. On that note, let us all rise for the GIS school prayer.
Oh Lord, I honestly pray in thankfulness for every single day, for all creations bright and beautiful everywhere. We at GIS, we need your guidance as we learn to love and honor our parents and our teachers and our friends with everything we do and sing. We at GIS, we need your presence to experience the joy of learning in the classrooms and all around. With every step we take each day, shine on us, shine on us. Oh Lord, I earnestly pray in thankfulness for every single day, for all creations bright and beautiful everywhere. We at GIS, we need your guidance as we learn to love and honor our parents and our teachers and our friends with everything we do and sing. We at GIS, we need your presence to experience the joy of learning in the classrooms and all around. With every step we take each day, shine on us, shine on us, shine on us.
Even the darkness of 1,000 years can be dispelled by the lighting of a single lamp. Light signifies warmth and triumph of the human spirit over negative forces. We now have the traditional lamp lighting ceremony to inaugurate this literary festival.
शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपो हरतु मे पापम् सन्ध्यादीपनमोऽस्तु ते ओ दीपब्रह्मरूपस्त्वं ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः ओ दीपब्रह्मरूपस्त्वं ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः आरोग्यं देहि पुत्रांश्च मतिं स्वच्छां हि मे सदा रवेरस्तं समारभ्य यावत् सूर्योदयो भवेत् रवेरस्तं समारभ्य यावत् सूर्योदयो भवेत् यस्य तिष्ठे गृहे दीपः तस्य नास्ति दरिद्रता शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
Dance is a form of expression that finds its way to people's hearts. In India, we often use dance as a graceful means to invoke the Almighty's blessings and presence into an auspicious event. Now, we have the invocation dance.
Tam det tay dat ta 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 tom tat ta det tay tam det tay dat ta 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 tom tat ta kutta kitta kinna tunga takka tom tunga Tanguku 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 dettam Kutta kitta kinna tunga takka tam tunga Tanguku 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 dettam Ta tangi tangi kidadaga dikkam dittam dirgiddattum tom dikkum tari dikkida kidadaga dikkitunga Ari tiru marugane Vigna vinayaka vinay kada aruli Ganapati jaya jaya Ari tiru marugane Vigna vinayaka vinay kada aruli Ganapati jaya jaya Dikkita udarakadan Kinnam Dikkita udarakadan Kinnam Taddikai tuddikai Yanai muga Taddikai tuddikai Yanai muga Kita kita taka dikkittung Devagal Ganapati Nam kita kita taka dikkittung Ganapati Kauvutuvam Katravar Vinay Ara Ganapati Kauvutuvam Katravar Vinay Ukkudutam Ukkududai Takudi Kudakitam Tom Kida Kida Dakadan Dangi Kida Dagi Dikkatam Tatatam Tatatai Ratam Ta
It is my honor and privilege to welcome our respected director, sir. Dr. Prabhakar is an individual of an incredible sense of discipline and commitment, whose wisdom and empathy continues to inspire and support us through good times and challenges alike. We are full of admiration towards him for his passion for education and untiring efforts to consolidate the lives of our students.
Thank you for your wise words, sir. We will surely try to follow them. I am now honored to bring to you our director, Sunita ma'am. She's been instrumental in realizing the mission and vision of our school. With her assiduous and enterprising interest in school matters, she enables the fruitful realizing of our goals. We are truly grateful for her intelligent and untiring support. I'm proud to welcome her to speak a few words.
Good morning. I'd like to welcome all the participants from all over the country and abroad, our esteemed panel of judges and our guest of honor, Ms. Santini Govindan, to this unique virtual literary fest, Excellencia 2020. This literary fest opens up a great opportunity for the teaching fraternity and schools to collectively instill the love of literature in our children. Excellencia is an excellent platform to showcase the literary talent of students during pandemic times. I am immensely happy to see the overwhelming participation in the event and hope all of you will enjoy the event and take home some learning too. I wish all the participants the very best.
Thank you for your inspiring words, ma'am. Now, I'm proud to introduce to you the backbone of our school, our principal, Dr. Sita Shankar. She's an accomplished educator and an academician with more than 17 years of rich and extensive experience in teaching and administration. She's a school leader who has built self sustaining teams, a firm believer in the strength of the team over the individual. Having received the International Education Award 2018 for excellence in inclusive education, pursuing a PhD from CTU in Sustainable Development Goals, and already having received a doctorate in literature from the University of South America, she has several awards to her name. I would now request you, ma'am, to kindly share your ideas with us.
Good morning. I welcome everyone to Excellencia 2020, a literary odyssey, a virtual lit fest. It is exciting to meet all the school representatives, partner schools, our esteemed panel of judges and participants on this platform. Gopalan International School Excellencia is a tribute to the unconquerable human spirit in these tough times. I congratulate all the staff, teachers and student council for organizing this virtual event. Carl Sagan once said, "One glance at a book and you hear a voice of another person, perhaps someone dead for 1,000 years. To read is to voyage through time." Literature connects us to our past and shows us a way forward into the future. The intention behind Excellencia is to introduce younger audiences to the spoken word and allowing them to fall in love with this art form as well. Shakespeare, Keats, Tagore and Lahiri are not just for the English books. Their stories and poems transcend age groups. They break the barrier of time and acquaint us with our history. We want the young citizens of our country to read a book. A book is a very potent weapon that can change the mindset of generations. Educators, teachers and parents need to read more and encourage children to read more too. This is a great way to impart values and shape our nation. Therefore, at GIS, we believe appreciating literature is not an isolated endeavor. It is a social experience. My best wishes to all the schools and the participants. Remember, participation is the key to learning. Keep reading, keep learning. God bless.
With immense pleasure, I would now like to bring to you the chief guest of this event. Ma'am Shantini Govindan is a widely published, award-winning author of children's literature in English. She has written more than 50 books for children, including poetry, picture books, and short stories for children of all ages. Let us now enjoy some of her inspiring words.
A very good afternoon, ma'am. On behalf of our school, we are all starry-eyed fans of yours waiting for you. And a very, very warm welcome to you, ma'am, today. And we are extremely privileged and honored to have you with us. You are an immense inspiration to all of us, and we all wish to learn from your incredible creativity. We would humbly seize this opportunity to interact with you and gain as much of happiness and knowledge that you seem to exude today, ma'am. I'm really, really very happy to meet you. I'm sure all of us are very, very happy to meet you. I would like to say a few words about ma'am to everyone. Ma'am is a widely published award-winning author of children's literature in English. She has written more than 50 books for children, including poetry, picture books, and short stories for children of all ages. Dear ma'am, and the way you introduced yourself to us leave us in no doubt that we can all become children again and enjoy your work. Now, I wouldn't want our children to be deprived of this opportunity, and we would like to seize upon this opportunity so that they may ask you a few questions and interact with you if you give us permission, ma'am.
Thank you so much for that very nice introduction.
Thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, our first little young student who's
I
really
can't hear
waiting.
you. Can you speak a little louder now?
Yes, ma'am. There is a little child, our young student Aditya, who is eagerly waiting to ask you a question. If you would
Fine,
kindly quench his interest. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank
Aditya?
you.
Aditya, are you
Yes,
there?
ma'am.
Please go ahead and speak to ma'am.
Ma'am, what books did you read growing up?
So when I was a child, the kind of books that were available, this was quite a long time ago. So many of the books that were available now were not, but there were many books, classic books that all of you still read that were new books when I was a little girl. So there was Roald Dahl. So I loved Roald Dahl. I also liked A.A. Milne In fact, my favorite character would be Winnie the Pooh. So I liked the house at Pooh Corner. I love animals very much. So I read a lot of the animal stories, which are classics like Black Beauty by Anna Sewell, Bambi, Felix Salten. There was a book called Lassie Come Home. I don't know if you have heard about it, about a dog that makes its way to its owner. I love dogs. So it was a serial in the United States where I was born. So maybe my love of dogs comes from the book and from the movie Lassie Come Home. I also liked to read fantasy. So The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, the Narnia Chronicles were fairly new at that time. So I remember being fascinated by C.S. Lewis's The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. I also liked poetry a lot. So I used to read Hilaire Belloc and Ogden Nash. I used to read some of the classics like Charles Dickens. So most of I used to read anything that I get. I didn't also grow up in India. We lived my father was in the foreign service. So one of his postings when I was just beginning to read was in Czechoslovakia, where there were no English books. So my father would take me to the Russian center. So I read a lot of Russian literature when I was a small girl. And Russian children's books, as you know, are beautifully illustrated. So when I was just beginning to read, there was a lot of Russian books. Then we moved to Switzerland, which was, of course, very open. And then I started reading a lot of Nancy Drew in the American school. And there was lots of Enid Blyton. I still read a lot of children's literature. But now, of course, like I've read all the Harry Potters, and I like my favorite picture book author is Julia Donaldson. I wish I could write like her. So I still read a lot of children's literature. And but I think it was the old classic. There was one book that I really liked, which I have used when I'm developing curriculum, called The Story of Ferdinand. I don't know if you've heard about this lesson. It has been made into a movie by Walt Disney. It was about a bull who didn't want to fight. He just wanted to smell the flowers. And one of the reasons why I like this book so much is it was Mahatma Gandhi's favorite book, because he was a non-violent person and he felt that Ferdinand sort of embodied his non-violent ethos. I like the story of Pinocchio. I've read that several times. So yes, these are some of the things that I really liked.
Thank you so much, ma'am. You actually took our breath away, and I actually jumped from being Nancy Drew to Pinocchio. You talked about nature, about imagination, and trust me, ma'am, that was such a beautiful, poignant thing that you actually brought us up in us. We can actually visualize what you're talking about. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Books are so important. You know, they make you the person that you are.
Absolutely, ma'am. We completely agree. That is why, ma'am, you showed us nature. You showed us values. You showed us characters, detectives, fairies, everything in 2 minutes, ma'am. That is so brilliant. We would like to introduce you to the next child who is really waiting to speak to you. She is Mihika from grade 7, ma'am.
Can you speak a little louder?
Ma'am, we have Mihika coming up to speak to you. She is in grade 7. Ma'am. Mihika, please come up.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Ma'am, it's such a great pleasure to meet you.
Pardon me?
Ma'am, it's such a great pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Ma'am, may I ask you a question?
Yes, you may. Yeah.
Ma'am, what inspired you to be a writer, and can you please share an
anecdote?
Sorry, ma'am, my screen froze, ma'am. Can you please share an interesting anecdote with us?
Okay, so what is it like to be a writer? Well, it's not at all an easy life, in the sense that Some people think that it's very interesting that you don't have to go to an office and you don't have a boss, you don't have to report to anyone, but you need a certain discipline to be a writer. You have to sit and write a certain number of hours a day. You have to work into your schedule, the discipline to write. Also, you have to make sure that what you write is something which will appeal to other people. You may think that it's wonderful, but somebody else may not think the same way. One of the most important, and I think the most useful things about being a writer is that you learn to accept rejection, because you have hundreds and hundreds of rejections. Even though I've written 50 books and I'm pretty well known and most of the publishers know me, every time I send a new manuscript, that manuscript is judged purely on its own merits. It doesn't matter that I have written 50 books before. Somebody may still not like it, or they may tell me. So one of the things is that you learn how to accept rejection and how to rework. The nice part of being a writer is that you can be a writer and do other things. For example, if you are a tennis player, you can only play tennis till your knees give way, probably till you're 34 or 36, or maybe if you are very, very athletic, till you're 40. But you can, Ruskin Bond is now 84 and still going great guns. Kushwant Singh wrote till he was 100. So long as your brain is active, you can keep writing. In fact, like wine, with writers get better with age. As you become more experienced and you have more to talk about and you find your writing voice, then you become more experienced. For me, writing, it has been an interesting journey because I've done so many different kinds of writing. I told you I do curriculum development. And so it's very interesting because now my stories are in many of the textbooks. So interestingly, when I go for a literary festival, many of the students are those who come up to me and say, oh ma'am, we've studied your story in standard 3 book or in the 4 book. And the parents tell me, you know, they wanted to come here because they wanted to see that who wrote the story in the textbook. And I get letters from children from all across the country. One little boy wrote to me last month saying, one of my stories, it's called Hundreds and Hundreds of Wags. It's in the Gulmohar 3 textbook. And he wrote to me from Tripura saying, I read your story so many times and it gave me great joy. And I was so happy to read that because I had not written it for a textbook. It was written for a storybook, but the textbook publishers, they pulled it out and they used it. So it gives me pleasure when children appreciate my work. Sometimes I get, you know, constructive criticism also from them. Why did you write this way? Why did you make the character die? So I value the opinions that I hear from my readers. So for me, being a writer is an interesting thing, but it's a tough life also. I wouldn't exchange it for anything else. Also because when I started writing, India was not so developed. It was at the children's literature was in its nascent stages. But now, of course, we are a much more developed economy and we have lots of children and the schools. There were no international schools in India when I was in college. So except maybe the American school. But now there are so many international schools and everybody wants to open out the world of knowledge to children. So I think there are great opportunities for those who want to be writers.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We are deeply humbled by what you said, and we will, we should remember the reminder that you gave us.
I can't hear, please.
Ma'am, can you hear me now?
Yeah. If you can speak this loud, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we are deeply humbled by your reminder that we should learn how to take rejection. I think that is one of the most valuable lessons. Yes, ma'am. That is the most valuable lesson that you could have imparted to us today. We are really, really thankful that we are there with you today. Ma'am, we have Kavya from grade 8 coming up to ask you a question. Kavya? Are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here. Hello, ma'am. It's so nice to meet you.
Glad to meet you too.
Ma'am, so can I ask you a question now?
Yes.
Ma'am, so what kind of books or genres would you suggest we read?
See, this would entirely depend on your own interests. Um, if somebody asks, like parents usually ask me for reading lists for their children. So when the children are smaller, I give them reading lists, which is, fairly comprehensive. There are a little bit of nature stories, realistic stories, some fairy stories. But I think by the time the children become of your age, you have got well-defined interests and likes and dislikes. So I would say that even in books, one of the things I tell parents is that parents come and tell me that, my child doesn't like to read at all. And what should I do to make my child read? So I say, find out what your child's interests are. If your child is interested in dinosaurs, buy them initially books about dinosaurs so that to introduce them to the magic of stories. So it depends entirely on your own interest. But I would say that for everybody, it's always useful to go back to the classics. So I read a lot. For example, I read a lot of Charles Dickens because Dickens is a wonderful, he draws characters so beautifully. Dickens was, he had insomnia. He couldn't sleep in the night. And so every night if the whole of London would be asleep, he would go around with a little notebook and look around and observe people and observe their appearance and the way they speak and the mannerisms. And he would note them all down in a book and he would write them down and he would include them in his story. Dickens is also wonderful for dialogue. Now, for writing, there are many different parts of writing. There's drawing characters that you can believe. You have to have wonderful dialogue. You have to have a beginning, a middle. Like every day we have the beginning of the day, the middle of the day, and the end of the day. Sometimes we wake up all excited, but something terrible happens in the middle of the day, and then we say, oh, we had a terrible day. So it so goes for a book. It has to have a good, catchy beginning, a good middle that will keep the interest of the reader, and a satisfying ending. Sometimes we go to see a movie and we always say the movie was not so good as the book. Some cases the movie is far better than the book. So it depends on interpretation. So I would say read a little of the classics. I like nature, so I read a lot of books on nature. Ruskin Bond, I would recommend Ruskin Bond to everybody. Some of the parents are very interested in reading moral stories to children. I'm not so hot on that because I don't like to ram truth down, So I would say folk stories I enjoy reading, interesting folk stories. And I would say I like to introduce my students to different cultures and to different areas so that I think we live in a much smaller global village now, and we all have to learn to be tolerant. We are all different, but in a way we are all the same. So literature is a great way to understand how people are different from us, but in a way we are all the same. So I like to read folk stories, and I also like to read stories about people who are, different from us, the different kind of challenges that we have had. I enjoy reading biographies. So if you are into sports, read biographies about sports people. If you are into music, read biographies about people who are great musicians. Anything. I think the purpose of literature is to invigorate us and to develop our minds and make us grow. So I would suggest which is why I'm not into horror stories or things. I think there are enough of things in the world to frighten me as it is, without my paying money and buying books to get afraid. I just have to open the newspaper and I'm already afraid. So I'm not really into horror, but I do understand that it is a genre which many people do appreciate. But for children, I think this is not something which I would introduce them to. There are many other interesting things that I would introduce them to. I also love poetry, and I have found wherever I take a poetry class, children have a natural sense of rhythm. Unfortunately, publishers in India, they don't like to make books only of poetry, even though it's very widely done in the United States and in Europe and in the UK. In India, we don't have any only poetry books for children. But children love poetry because they have a natural sense of rhythm. They love to sing and they have a way of expressing themselves. So I always, whenever I take a creative writing workshop, there'll always be a poetry writing workshop, and the best work that I get are from my students in the poetry workshop. They are all natural poets. So I always recommend, I like Ogden Nash, I like Shel Silverstein, his poetry is wonderful. So I recommend children, it makes you laugh, so I recommend children to read a lot of poetry.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for telling us so many interesting and significant things. And I'm sure our children have picked up a plethora of ideas of how they could learn, how they could enjoy, how they could explore. That was really brilliant, ma'am. Thank you so much. And I think we would trouble you a little more because Anindita of grade 10 is waiting really eagerly to ask you some question.
Okay.
Anindita? Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Anindita, are you
Good
there?
afternoon, ma'am.
Good
Yes, ma'am.
afternoon.
Ma'am, it's a pleasure to talk to you. Could I ask you for some advice?
Pardon me?
Ma'am, could I ask you for some advice?
Yes, please. Go ahead, right ahead.
How should I plan my career if I aspire to be an author?
So it depends first on what you want to write. Now, when I was growing up, there were no courses which teach you how to be a writer or how to be a journalist. So I just went to college and took a master's degree in English literature and read a lot. Now it's not like that. Now it depends. If you want to be a writer, you can go to a college and you can do a course in journalism. You can do a course in creative writing, which will actually teach you how to become a writer. And so there are, one thing is, a writer is a very loose term. Like, I am a children's book writer. There are many different kinds of writers. So you will have to decide what exactly you want to write about. There are people who are journalists who are sports writers. So they write about sports events. Like, there are some sports writers who write about cricket who are even or almost as famous as the cricketers themselves. And they have a big fan following. There are crime writers who write only about, criminal cases and about sensational cases. So they also have a big fan following and they do only writing about cases. One of the interesting things that people like to do is to be, you can be a writer on food. There is a writer called Rashmi Uday Singh. I don't know if you've heard of her. She used to work in the income tax department, but she loved food and she was so interested in food that she left her job and she became a food writer. So she writes about, the different kinds of food and she reviews restaurants and the kinds of dishes. Now, being a food writer is slightly different from being a food historian. A food historian is somebody who writes about the history of food. And this is also something which is very interesting, and I find it very interesting. When I was writing one of my books, It was a historical fiction, and it was based in the Vijayanagara, South Indian Vijayanagara Empire. Bangalore was once part of the Vijayanagara Empire. So I had to, one of the scenes involved a meal. So I thought that one of the things that we have in almost every meal is potatoes. So but then I did a little research, and I was so glad that I did, because then I realized that in the Vijayanagara time, there were no potatoes in India. Potatoes were brought to India only in the 14th century by the Portuguese. So if I had written that in the Vijayanagara Empire, they had a meal of potatoes, my whole book would have fallen flat. Then I did a little research, and then I found out that potatoes were originated in the Andes Mountains of South America. They were cultivated by the Incas. When the Spanish conquistadors invaded the Incas, they brought potatoes to Europe. And when the Europeans, Spanish and the Portuguese invaded India and landed in Goa, they brought the aloo, potatoes, with them. So till that time, we had no potatoes. So these are some of the interesting stories. Similarly, green chilies. We love our chilies, and we put chilies in everything. And we think that chilies are originated in India. They didn't. So many of the things, similarly, when the Mughals, when Babur came to North India from Afghanistan, he was upset because he felt that there were not enough of fruits. So he longed for the pomegranates of Afghanistan. So he asked his Afghan people to bring pomegranates. And that's how pomegranates came to India. So every food item, if you do a little research on the history of samosa or biryani, you will find out how these food items came. So that is how you will be a food. There are people who write only on jewelry and on gold. In the olden times, jewelry was a mark of your rank. There were certain kinds of jewelry that only a king could wear, or only a nobleman could wear some kinds of jewelry. Ordinary people could not wear it. Travel writing, of course, is very well known. I think the original travel writer was Marco Polo. You must have heard of Marco Polo. In fact, many of the details that we have about kingdoms in the past, even Vijayanagara, are from travelers who came from the West. There was one traveler, Portuguese, called Domingo Pais, and he wrote a diary about what he saw in Vijayanagara. And it was a travel, he was the original travel writer, like Marco Polo. So if you want to be a writer, first you prepare for a general degree. There are colleges that will teach you journalism, and then you decide what you want to specialize in. You can also be a general writer. You can write on all kinds of topics. You can even write on medical subjects, even if you are not a doctor. But you have to be very careful to research all your facts very, very carefully. That's one thing that I have learned. One advice I would like to give all of you, which I give all my students when I teach, is that now in the age of the internet, it is very easy to, at the click of a mouse, to find things and to copy things. Please do not do that. You would not steal a pencil or a pen from your friend's school bag. Similarly, stealing an idea is as bad. It's called plagiarism. I am telling you this because I judge so many competitions, and children, I think they have an idea that maybe somebody else's idea may be better than theirs. Even if you write something which is full of spelling mistakes, and I would prefer to see your own idea rather than somebody else's idea that you have borrowed. So please, whatever you do, write your own. Even if you think, oh, my life is so boring, it doesn't matter. It's better that I read about your boring life, which might not be boring at all. To me, it's a new life and it's very interesting. Do not copy from the internet. Always write your own thing. Similarly, if you are planning to be a writer, try to develop your own ideas and practice, practice, practice. Like in music, you have to do your riyaz every day. If you are a tennis player, you have to do your tennis. Writing also, you have to do practice writing. Every day you have to write. Keep a journal, write a sub for your school magazine, and show what you have written to your friends so that they can tell you. Take criticism constructively. If you write something and somebody tells you that they don't like it, it doesn't mean they don't like you. I still have every day people telling me, and I understand that everybody can't write like everything that I write, but I try to make it that the majority of the people like it. I hope I have tried to explain clearly to you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Is there anything else that you would like to ask me?
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us
I'm
so
sorry,
much
I can't
time.
see or hear you. Just some faint sounds.
Ma'am, can you hear me now, ma'am?
Yeah. I can't see you, but I can hear your voice.
Ma'am, actually, I'm not being seen because I might give you a scare after the entire day. So that is why. But ma'am, I am absolutely, I need to show myself to you to show you how my idea is doing. And I'm so happy to have, we are all so happy to have you with us and such beautiful things you've told us. And we can understand the secret of your vibrant personality, ma'am, and your creativity. And if we can get even an iota of what you have taught us today, what you have shared with us today, I think we'll be blessed. Thank you so much, ma'am.
I have sent your principal a handout, which she said that she's going to be mailing to those who are interested. So I hope that will be useful to those who want to, get a few tips on to help them improve their writing.
Thank you, ma'am. I have received the worksheets that you have sent me on creative writing, and I'm sure that all the students will benefit from it, and I'll definitely share it with everybody. Thank you so much for gracing this occasion. Thank you so much for being here with us and sharing your valuable ideas and your experiences and anecdotes. So many things that I learned today from you. Thank you so much for teaching us. On behalf of all the staff of GIS, I thank you for coming here, and happy Teachers Day, ma'am. It's coming on Saturday.
Thank you for inviting me. It was a lovely session. I wish all of you all the best for your literary festival. I loved some of the competitions were very interesting. I'm sure all of you will have a wonderful time, and I send you all my very good wishes. Please enjoy yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
I am exhilarated to announce that all of you finally get to meet our judges. Join me in welcoming these acclaimed individuals to share their thoughts with us.
Dear children, competition is not about winning. It is about participation. Wishing every participant all the very best.
Hello everyone, I'm Ruth Sargunam, a language arts teacher at KC High Chennai. I wish all the students and participants of Excellencia the best of everything. Remember, this is an opportunity to learn and not to compete. While you compete, make most of the learning that comes through this opportunity that you have during the lockdown.
Hello students, I am Akram Haq, and I understand that you are taking part in a literary fest organized by Gopalan International School. I just want to say that enjoy the contest to the fullest and give your best, because the results are not in your hand, but what is in your hand is the hard work. So give your best, do work hard, and for the results, leave it up to the judges and the Almighty. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Shelly, and I'm happy to be part of Excellencia 2020. Wishing all the participants best of luck and God's choicest blessings. Speak confidently. If you get stuck in between or you make a mistake, don't worry, just carry on. Success is not the key to happiness, but happiness is the key to success. Be happy and do your best. Thank you.
Dear friends, my name is Satish Padmanabhan and I consider it an honor to be part of this prestigious event, Excellencia 2020. A couple of tips to all the participants. Ensure your language is in place. Ensure what you're talking is related to the topic given to you. Allow your creative juices to flow, and last but not the least, stick to the time limit. Best of luck to all the participants of the event.
I am so happy that even during these challenging times, Gopalan International School has been able to put together this Literary Fest Excellencia 2020. I want to wish all the participants the very best of luck. However, I also want each one of you to know that the fact that you have already participated and given it your best makes you a winner.
Hello everyone, I'm Hariharan. It's a great honor to be part of this wonderful event, Excellencia 2020. I wish all the participants, organizers, the sponsors, and the great minds behind the screen to make this wonderful event successful.
I, Dr. Roshni Jan Ganguly, congratulate the organizers of the Literary Fest of Gopalan International Schools today. Thank you.
Good morning, dear children. I hope you're enjoying yourself at the Literary Fest. Enjoy reading. God bless you. May you have a very fulfilling day today. Thank you.
I'm happy to see that all of you are undeterred by the ravages of the pandemic and have spread your wings to explore and discover newer pastures. Dear students, welcome to the magical world of literature and reading, which offers escapism as well as a brush with reality. My best wishes to the participants and the organizers of this unique literary fest. God bless and good luck to all.
Hi, I am Parthasar Rangaswamy, a person interested in reading and writing. Kudos to Gopal International School for organizing Excellencia 2020. The school's effort to bring the students closer to books by organizing this festival is a commendable effort. It's a great way to make students understand and appreciate the beauty of language through games and contests, and thereby inculcate in them a lifelong passion for learning. My best wishes for Excellencia 2020 to be a grand success. Keep learning GIS. Thank you.
Namaste, good morning to one and all. I am happy to note that the Gopalan International School is organizing virtual literary fest. What an idea. I am also happy to note several participants from different schools have registered to compete in this event. I wish all the participants success in this event and also congratulate the management of the Gopalan International School, the principal and the organizing committee for thinking of such a concept of virtual literary fest. Thank you so much. Wish you all. God bless you all.
Hello everyone. Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm really honored to be part of this literary fest organized by the Gopalan International School. I think the very idea of bringing up such a platform for the kids to come together and share some moments during this trying lockdown times is really commendable. I congratulate the principal and the organizers for the splendid effort.
Thank you for inviting me to say a few words on this occasion. I would like to convey my appreciation to the principal and staff of Gopalan International School for organizing the Literary Festival Excellence 2020. I'm glad to know that during this festival, the school plans to use innovative ways such as games, contests, and quizzes to kindle and sustain a lifelong love for learning in children. Thank you.
Hello children, this is Shailaja from Basil Woods International School. I'm delighted to be part of this wonderful event organized by Gopalan International School, Excellencia 2020. I would like to congratulate the school for organizing such an amazing event, even in this current situation of pandemic. This is clearly an example of how every challenge can be converted into an opportunity if only we change the way we look at things.
Hello to one and all. My name is Shija Menon. I have been invited to judge an event at Excellencia 2020, a literary festival that is being conducted by Gopalan International School. It is lovely to connect with each one of you through this digital platform. Excellencia 2020 is a wonderful platform for you to exhibit and hone your literary skills. I would like to congratulate each one of you for the mere participation in this event. Remember, whether you win or lose, the best part of competition is that through it we discover what we are actually capable of.
Hello everyone, my name is Rupa Shahamandal. I work for the Green School Bangalore as the pre-primary and primary head. I would like to wish all the participants all the best for the upcoming competitions and the events.
Hi, I am Satish Kataria, an investor, entrepreneur coach and an author. Fall in love with books because that is the best habit that you can ever have, and that is the one habit that can actually shape your destiny and unblock all the success that you want in this life. Wishing you all the best.
Principal, the staff and the students of Gopalan International School. It is an honor to be part of a Lit Fest that plans to or that is looking to explore the creative instinct of the students. We've always been told, think before you speak. And what we actually need to do is read before we think.
Hello everyone, my name is Roshni Shreyas and I am an assistant professor of English at Srinarayana College, Cherthala. I take this opportunity to wish all the participants of Excellencia 2020 the very best. I hope you learn something and also have a lot of fun. I would also like to thank the coordinators of this literary fest for making me a part of this. Thank you.
I wish each child participating in this festival and expressing their voice and talent pure joy in bringing forth what they can to this world. Let it be beauty, let it be grace, and let it be the magical powers that words give you to truly express yourself. Thank you.
Good morning to one and all. My name is Ramandeep Kaur. I am glad that I got this opportunity to connect with you all digitally. I would like to thank Gopalan International School for inviting me to judge an event, Excellencia 2020, a literacy festival. As we all know, learning is a lifelong process. Many congratulations to school management to initiate and organize Excellencia 2020, a wonderful platform for students to showcase their talent and invest in intellectual growth. They say winning is something, but participation is everything. I would like to congratulate all the students who have participated in this literacy competition. So my dear students, remember, always do your best. Good luck and have a nice day. Thank you.
What a truly divine rendition. We now come to the end of this blessed ceremony. I would now call upon Miss Trisha Edwards, the Secretary of Communications at the Student Council, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. A warm and graceful morning to one and all present here. I feel blessed and honored to be able to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of our esteemed institution, Gopalan International School. I would like to begin with thanking the Almighty
for abundantly blessing us and keeping us safe. My heartfelt thanks to our directors for creating opportunities of this magnitude. I would like to thank our dear Principal Ma'am, Dr. Sita Shankar, for her constant encouragement and support. My deep appreciation for all our coordinators, Amuda Ma'am, Simi Ma'am, Shanti Ma'am, Sharmila Ma'am, and Pramla Ma'am, for their diligent planning and guidance. I would like to thank our English department profusely for their untiring efforts in making this dream come true. Any message of appreciation would be incomplete without mentioning the admin department who made all of this possible. Last but not the least, I would like to thank the Student Council, the entire student community, participating schools, and school leaders for being an enthusiastic partner to this event. My heartfelt thanks for our guest of honor and our eminent and highly esteemed judges for taking out their precious time for us. A warm appreciation and gratitude again from all of us to all of you. Requesting you all to rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Before we commence with the thrilling competition set in store, we'd like to share some important messages. Participants, please do join your respective events through the links that have been provided to you. We also humbly request you to follow online etiquette throughout the span of this program.
Please keep your video and audio turned off while other participants are speaking. This will ensure seamless presentation. All queries are to be held back while the competition is on. They will be dealt with later by the concerned authorities. Wish you the very best.